So 2.5 years ago today, I never made $1 online. I've never picked up a book in my life. I was in university and I was also working a job. So everything you can think of a traditional life path. And then somehow that person ended up to build a 6-figure business, including a 40 grand a month SMA and also another 40 grand a month coaching business. So you can just see in this video every single step it took to get to this place. And I'm just going to be documenting everything, including every single process I took, every single hiring decision, every outreach method, every single ad strategy I used, every content method, everything is documented here. So I hope you enjoy the video. About 3 years ago, we had a viral I'm Ungodzi video. And this video probably everybody has seen. It's basically selling you on agency services to get in this program, whatever. Didn't buy the program, but what it did do is alert me of what the hell this agency thing was. So I started the agency. I tried to serve 10 niches at once. That didn't do anything. I went to e-commerce. It didn't do anything at all either. And I went back to the agency. And this is when it got fun. I used all the money from my restaurant job to reinvest into programs. So I bought like 3 high-ticket programs, a mentorship, went into tons of things, and just wanted all the information because I knew nothing. And I knew nothing. So what I did is went into the gym niche. And now I know that was likely a mistake and I shouldn't have done that. But at the time, it was the only thing I knew of. I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about landscape. I don't know anything like that. So I went into what I know, which is going to the gym every morning for 2 years. First thing I did is I just started sending cold DMs. Voice memos. I would send on my phone. Maybe I can find one and put it on the video. I would just sit there and go into gym Facebook groups and just send them voice memos. This is all I did. I just did that for 2 hours a day straight. It was horrible. But guess what? Right here. This got me my first 2 sales calls. All right. So this was like the first screenshot I took of where I actually had sales calls on my calendar. And this was good progress for a guy who knew nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just got them on a sales call. I asked them some questions, not even from a script. Told them the price and the offer and said they wanted to think about it. And I let them think about it. This is something that a beginner would do. And I was absolutely horrible. I knew nothing, but at least I had these sales calls. So then kept doing that. I was still working my job and I just would send voice memos for 2 hours and take sales calls for the rest of the day, right? So I would wake up, go to the gym, come back, send the voice memos in Facebook groups. Then I would take the sales calls that I had that day and then go work the 7 to 8 hour shift. And you can see right here, this is all I did. Then after that, I started branching out. I started realizing that maybe, hey, look, maybe DMs aren't the best thing in this situation. So what I did is discover the concept of what I call niche hangout spots. I don't know if anybody's coined this, but that's what I call it. And I simply just found where my niche was and tried to target that place. So this is something you can take away for yourself. A lot of niches have different spots where they are. So real estate agents are on the phone. Agency owners, you're watching this video on YouTube right now. I know you're on YouTube. If I was going on a different platform, I probably would do Instagram or something because there's a lot of young people in the agency game. So you have to research your own niche and see like, where are these people hanging out at? And that's the thing I realize is that maybe Facebook DMs shouldn't be the primary place. All right, so do you this research for yourself and find out where the hell your niche is. So this is something you shouldn't do. And this is something I did. I think I just want to make sure that you don't do it. So don't start 5 outreach channels all at once and target ones that don't drive sales calls. And improve very slowly on all of them at once. Because if you chase 5 outreach channels, you won't get good at any of them. It's like trying to learn 5 instruments at once. Just learn one, get really good at it, okay? So it's like trying to learn 5 sports at once. You won't get good at any of them. It's just like you'll get tired and you won't want to do it. It's the same thing. So pick like 1 to 2. Find where your niche is, what platforms your niche is, and just simply reach out to them. So this is the thing I realized here. And I just wanted to literally just get good at 1 to 2. And that's all I needed. Later this video, we're going to be walking you through how I literally would book out 2 calendars with like 1 team of cold calling. Like that's really it. So that's what I recommend you to do. And that's what I should have done. All right. So next, what I did was kind of controversial at the time. It's something that was looked down upon. It's basically switching niches. And I understand why you shouldn't switch niches, but in that time, I wasn't closing the sales calls. Every single gym owner I had on the phone was broke. They didn't have money to invest. I couldn't book sales calls. It was really hard. I signed a few clients, not anything good, right? So basically what I did is go, okay, a lot of people above me are in real estate, and like I'm working with these people, and there's a lot of people succeeding in real estate. Why don't I just go into real estate? And this wasn't a calculated decision necessarily. It was just like kind of an emotional one because I was fed up of spending 3 months sending voice memos to gym owners, and I just had no results with it at all. Okay. So I went into real estate, and I kind of realized this, and this is what got me into 10 grand a month immediately, like really, really, really fast. It's if your time isn't spent executing or learning on one of these three things here, your time is nearly useless. And this is what I realized, okay? So there's kind of three parts to the agency, and I'll explain in a second here. Let's break it down like this, like this, like this, my amazing diagram. We're going to call this traffic, we're going to call this conversion, and we're going to call this retention. You can also call retention delivery, but we'll get into that in a second. These are the three core components of an agency right here. And traffic is just getting people into the system. It's just reaching out to people. It could be one-on-one, it could be one-to-many, it could be with ads, it could be with content. You're just attracting people into your system. That's all you're doing. So it could be doing the damn outreach, testing scripts, creating the scripts, automating as much as possible. This is traffic. And what it does is pushes people into our system that we're going to use in order to turn these people into clients. Okay. Conversion is selling those people that you just got in the door, and delivery is just delivering the service for those clients. That's really all it is. So what you can do is break these three down and go, okay, so if I'm not doing these three things, what's the point? So I kind of try to narrow my focus in what day-to-day activities I was doing in the agency. So as soon as I realized if it isn't pushing traffic, if it is not increasing my conversion rate on the sales calls that I take, or making my service better for my existing clients so they can pay me more, what's the point? So I divided my time into that, and I quickly realized that most of the things I was doing, I was just wasting my time completely. I was watching course content, I was watching YouTube videos on the new ad strategy, all this stuff, which really I should have just been reaching out to people. I should have just gotten more sales calls. And this is what I realized. So I now, from that, just did significantly more cold calls because I quickly realized that it was the only thing that was driving my sales calls at the moment. That was it. And I was doing like 55 a day, and I was getting like 2-3 appointments. So that's like pretty damn good. It also serves that I was a Canadian, so I'm still a Canadian. I was reaching out to Canadians in my area, so I had a high conversion rate because like I would just say where I'm from, and I'd say, hey, look, it's Joe. I'm from the same province as you, and I work with people in my local area. I'm trying to get them this amount of listings every single month. That's all I was doing. So it really worked out in my favor. So I do 200 a day. So I went from like 55 to like 200 dials in one day. From that, I was signing clients every 2 weeks. So this is kind of like the exponential curve in my agency. And all it was from is me just going, most of the stuff I'm doing right now is completely useless. I'm just wasting my time. I'm watching YouTube videos on psychology, and I'm trying to get around the outreach messages. I'm trying to read this book, and I think it's improving my agency, when really I just have to do more calls. That's what I realized. And I was just procrastinating on the things I need to do. So from signing clients every 2 weeks, I had like an overwhelm because I just switched niches. I had a good idea of how to do service delivery from gyms. Real estate was completely different. I had to build all the landing pages. I had to do a new ad strategy. I had to do everything differently. And I quickly realized that was a problem. Okay. So I sorted all this out. I did 10 hours of Google Ads training on YouTube. I paid for sessions with Google Ads people, got them on the phone, and they taught me what to do. And then I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to be signing these clients every 2 weeks, how am I going to keep doing cold calls? Or if I'm going to be signing a client every like 4 or 5 days, how am I going to keep doing cold calls? Because like, I don't even want to do cold calls because I know that I get to deliver on this person, which means I got to do less cold calls. So basically I'm bottlenecked on the traffic side now because I'm doing everything. So we need to sort this out. So I was getting great metrics on cold calling. I was booking the appointments. I was taking the sales calls. And I didn't put this in here, but I think it was around this time that I quit this, right? So I quit the job right here that I was working at. And that was because I was making the same amount of money as the job. And that's what caused me to do it, is when I realized that the income from both vehicles were the same. And one I was spending half of the day on the other half of the day on, but one can exponentially grow and one is just going to stay the same. I'm not going to work more than 8-9 hours a day at this job. So this one has the potential to grow, right? So I went all in to the agency. And what this made me do is have a full calendar. So I had all my time available just to take sales calls now. So I hired a cold calling team. And this was my introduction to hiring people. I've never hired anyone in my life. So it was a learning curve for me, making SOPs, getting decent at leadership. I still think I was bad back then when I hired these people compared to what I won't know now. But at the time, it was the best I could do. So after getting these testimonials I mentioned from the client results, I increased my prices. And what this allowed me to do is hire those cold callers, like I just said, and I increased the prices on my program because I had some social proof to back up my promises to these people. It wasn't entirely paying results anymore. So I'm like, let's just increase my prices. So what this allowed me to do is give these cold callers a boost in commission and also pay them per qualified show. So per qualified show, if you're an advanced agency owner looking to hire these people, it's really important to realize that we don't want these cold callers booking in unqualified people all the time, and they just want to get paid for that booking. So that's the difference between unqualified and qualified. We want them qualified so that they can actually get through the whole sales call into the pitch, and that's when we're going to pay the cold caller because it's actually a perfect fit for the program, and they're going to qualify on the cold calls. Well, for some specific things, so we know we can actually close them. So this was, as an example, my calendar. So this is from 10 to 4, basically 5 days a week. I'd be completely booked out, which is fantastic because I'm off the cold calls. I'm just sitting back selling, and I had a few hours a night just to focus on delivery, make sure everything's okay. And at that point, I had the service delivery settled, everything all good. But at that point, with 3 cold callers, and they're doing like 200 dials, I can't push the traffic lever anymore. I can't book any more calls on my calendar or I'm going to be swamped. I can't have like 2 calendars and 1 calendar a day. It's not going to work, right? So I need to hire a damn closer now, right? So this happened within like a 2-month time frame. And I was just moving every single day, pulling needle moving activities to the point where I'm like, I need to hire more and more people. So I hired a closer at that point. What that did is basically my agency looked like this, right? So this was this period when I hired. This is this period when I quit, right? So you can call the period when I quit like right here. And this was maybe 5. This is maybe 10. This is maybe 15. This is maybe 20. And it just went exponentially up. So that's what happened. And from there, I hired 2 more closers. And this is kind of the biggest lesson that I learned from hiring and growing really quickly. I've said this probably 1 or 2 times before, but it's probably one of the most fundamental things I've ever learned about business. This is called the leverage pyramid. If you don't know what leverage is, it's what you put in versus what you get out. Okay? So I can send this video to 1 person right now and I got 1 viewer. Or I can post it on YouTube and I can get 500. However many views this video gets, right? But I now know that this video going on YouTube is higher leverage than if I was just to send this video to 1 person. It's like you put in 1 input to get 1, or you get like 1 to 1,000. What happens with the leverage pyramid is this is the point of the least leverage, and this is the most leverage. And we can divide this into 4 categories. Labor, which is hiring people. So you get other people to do the thing you were doing, and they move faster because that's their only job. You have the whole agency to run. Their job is just to do the damn calls. It's just to take the damn sales calls. That's all they need to do. So this means this gives you more leverage because you train them once and they take 500 to 1,000 calls on sales calls. Whatever the job is, it massively makes your time more leverage when you know how to hire. Next one is capital. You can say this is advertising. So you spend $1 and you can get 10 out. And that's pretty much what I did. As you can see, I started running ads when I had 2 closers. Like I didn't even need the cold calling team at that point because I was getting $4 to $8 leads at any time. And you can say about 50% of those booked a call, but then you're getting like a $16 sales call. Maybe it's like $30 per qualified booking. Then if you have like a 20% close rate, that's like 1 in 5 people closing at a $30 per qualified sales call, which is pretty insane when you have a multi-$1,000 offer. All right, so that's how I integrated capital with this. Code and media. Quickly started documenting everything. Like, I can even pull up YouTube right now. I started quickly documenting on YouTube because I quickly realized how important content was in this period of leverage. So I discovered leverage pyramid. I'm like, content. Okay, so I'm not going to make real estate content for my agency because usually you can't attract clients in a local business with purely organic content. Usually in a local business, let's go back to the traffic diagram we had. We get clients in or prospects in the door, and we use lead nurturing to nurture these people into becoming clients. Okay? With content in something like client attraction, like when you're trying to attract people, it doesn't work as well. All right? But guess what? It works very well for documenting things and building a following if you ever want to monetize it. That's what I realized here. And I got really good views in my first few videos because I was just documenting everything I was doing. You can watch those. They're pretty bad videos, by the way. Like, my speech was horrible. So I used media, and then I'm like, how can I use code? So I implemented many softwares into my agency, automating follow-ups, doing that, onboarding, right? So I had everything automated in my agency to the point where, like, I just had to run the ads, and it would take me probably 20 to 30 minutes per client. Okay, so that's all I needed to do. So this was the biggest needle mover for me. And with your agency, you kind of want to think, where can I automate? Where can I run ads at some point when I have enough money and I know I'm closing at a good percentage? When can I run those ads? And when can I hire? But for now, all you should be focusing on is simply putting in the dials, putting in the DMs like I was doing back here until you can use leverage right here to build your business exponentially, right? So really, like, if you're watching this video as an agency owner from my story, if you want to take something away, if it doesn't come down to these three things that you're working on right now, it is likely a waste of time. It's either driving traffic into your system, which means getting interested people to book on a call with you, to learning how to sell better, taking more sales calls, or keeping clients for longer and making them happy and getting them to pay you more. It is likely something that is useless. And if you're going to boil this down into a science, it should be 80% executing, 20% learning. I was just in this consumption window where it'd be consuming content, which led me to more consuming content, which led me to more consuming content. And then it would just be like action, maybe here for like 10 minutes every 3 hours. And then I just go consume. And I would learn a lot, but I wouldn't take any action, which means I just wasn't moving forward. So move forward unbelievably fast. Take as much action as you possibly can. Probably 80% executing, 20% learning on what to do next. And that's how to move really fast. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like this video, subscribe, and like if you want to see a client interview of getting David 15 grand a month. It's in the description. Click that, watch it. If you want to see his full breakdown of his agency, how he's scaling the landscaping niche, click that. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.